Hello students and my dear friends, I'm Dr. Shalini Shukla and today is 20th of June 2020 Saturday. So let's start with the Economics Times analysis. In today's discussion, we are going to cover these articles. So let's start with article number 1, Promise Fulfilled, says Ambani as RIL becomes net debt free. On Friday, Reliance Industry has declared itself as a net debt free company at hand crossed the $150 billion mark in its market capitalization. And after this, Mukesh Ambani has become the ninth richest man in the world. And the company said it has raised approximately 1,68,818 crore in 2 months since April and has delivered a promise made to its shareholder in August last year. And what was the promise? A promise was to make the Reliance net debt free company as on March 31st, 2021. So company has achieved its target much before the deadline. So Mr. Ambani is considering this as a golden decade of RIL and even has promised more ambitious growth to achieve. If we talk about the net debt of the company, so in financial year 20 March, the net debt of the company was 1,61,000 crore approximately, and in within 2 years companies of Reliance has raised the fund of approximately 1,68,818 crore by selling its major stake in Reliance Jio platform as well as rights issue. So, by utilizing two options, company Reliance Industry had made itself a net debt free company, and because of this news, shares of Reliance Industry has touched the new 52-week high, that is of 1788.60 rupees. So Reliance Industry has become the India's first company to cross this amount of market capitalization and achieve the net debt free target within 9 months ahead of its target or its stipulated target. However, this news has a very large implication. If you see from the perspective of a shareholder, this is the good news. If you see from the perspective of the Indian business environment, yes, this is definitely the good news. But if you see from the point of view of the environment of the industry and the economic disparity, there are certain debates that can be raised. There are certain points that can be raised for this development of Reliance Industry. However, we are not going into that discussion. But being a business student, being the student of social sciences, you must think of the other aspect of this news as well. Now look at into the article number 2. Industry told to submit list of Chinese import. Department of Promotion of Industry and Internal has asked the industry to prepare the detailed list of the all purchases from the China so that essential and non-essential imports can be segregated. Presently, what government is trying to do? Government is trying to identify the non-essential imports from the China so that all those non-essential imports can be substituted from the local manufacturers. Currently, government of India is not trying to impose any curb on the critical import. Why? Because if critical import is halted, then in many cases number of Indian industry may suffer major problems, major challenges. That is why currently government of India is focusing on only non-essential imports that can be substituted with the local products or any other locally available option. This is among the many measures that are under consideration by the government of India in order to reduce the country's dependence on China in the wake of the border crisis. So, Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade has asked industry, trade associations and number of other industry representatives ranging from automobile, pharmaceutical, toy, plastic, furniture, etc. to prepare a list of the raw material or non-essential imports that can be substituted from local products. And government has asked industry to submit that list by Monday. After that list, government will formulate three timeline strategy. And what is this three timeline strategy? Three timeline strategy has three segregations: short, medium and long term. So all those imports which comes under shortcut strategy or short timeline, for those product government will ask or discourage the local manufacturers or the local companies to import that product that comes under medium timeline strategy. For all those imports, government is trying to find out the substitution, if there is any local substitution available for that, or if local substitution is not available, then any other substitution or any other company not belonging to China. And for long term timeline strategy, government is trying to develop the skills and ability or capacity to manufacture those product in long term, so that all those products which falls under long term time strategy can slowly be reduced from the importing item list from China, and country itself emerge as a manufacturing hub for those long term timeline strategy products or imports. Therefore, completely reducing or making India Chinese import free require a long term time duration, and for that government has a appropriate strategy. Why? Because government now has realized that it is not going to work with China in a long term period. If you have remembered the business standard news discussion, that India is now going to align with USA, because India has understand that in upcoming time world order is going to change, and inclination of the Russia towards China is pressurizing the India to be aligned with another group. Why? Because India is less likely to form any partnership, whether it is economic or political, with China. And for achieving dominance free Indian landscape, it is very important to achieve economic self sufficiency first. So India is on that path of economic self sufficiency. Now look at into the article number 3. Paytm trying to shift blame on Fin frauds Jio. On the hearing of phishing attack case on its users, Paytm has dragged the all telecom operate service provider or telecom companies and alleged that the payment company is trying to provide the best service to their users, but all the service provider just like Jio, Vodafone Idea, Airtel are not providing the proper security to its user. That is why this phishing attack take place on Paytm users. So yesterday in Delhi High Court, Reliance Jio has slammed the Paytm for dragging access provider to court over phishing attack. Reliance Jio is saying that Paytm is shifting its onus to the service provider for its own lapses to evade the legal liability of financial fraud occurring through its own app or application. In an affidavit filed by the Paytm in Delhi High Court, India's largest telco said mobile phone companies cannot be held liable for unlawful activities occurring over calls and messages as per the telecom regulators. Then how could Paytm can blame on service providers for the all those financial fraud that are actually occurring through its own application? As per the Section 79 of Information Technology Act, intermediaries are exempt from the liability under the Act in respect of any third-party information, data or communication link made available or hosted by them. Recently, Paytm's parent company, that is 197 Communication, has moved to the Delhi High Court against all telecom operators including Vodafone Idea, Jio, Bharti Airtel, Mahanagar Telephone Nigam, Bharat Sanchar Nigam, besides Telecom Regulatory Authority of India and Communication Ministry, and blaming that telcos for not blocking those who are defrauding its customer by phishing activities over various mobile networks. Here Paytm are saying that it is not the responsibility of the Paytm applications to stop the fraud calls. So if any fraud happening with the user of Paytm, for that all service provider companies are responsible. So now it is the blame game that Paytm is playing. And for that even Paytm has sought the damage of 100 crore for failure of carriers, which has caused the financial and reputational loss to Paytm. So instead of taking its own responsibility, Paytm is shifting the blames to telecom operators and asking damage from all those operators for their reputational loss. So many of you may be wondering what is this phishing attack. Phishing attack is basically the fraudulent attempt to obtain the sensitive information about the username, password, or even the credit card details by disguising oneself as a trustworthy entity of an electronic communication. And many of you may have experienced it as well. So last year number of fraudulent act has been happening on Paytm, and because of that numbers of users have faced the financial loss and loss of their personal details, just like username, their credit card details, and because of that users have faced financial distress and moved to court for getting relaxation from Paytm. So on that case, Paytm is now shifting its owners to all telecom operators, saying that the call should be banned by the telecom operators, not by the application or the third party application provider. However, the court will accept this argument or not can be seen into the next hearing. Now look at into the article number 4. RBI buys $1 billion of US treasuries as forex reserve swells. The Reserve Bank of India has bought about $1 billion of US treasuries after selling a record $21 billion in March, when the scores of foreign portfolio investors exit. And why RBI is doing all these types of buying and selling regularly, that we will understanding next couple of minutes. First, let's have the news. India is ranked 12th in the list of nations holding US bond, surpassing Singapore. So after buying this $1 billion of US treasury, India is now ranked 12th in terms of the nations holding US bond, and India has surpassed the Singapore. And the economists are saying that the purchase of US treasuries by RBI could surge in the week ahead, as India's forex reserves have gone past $100 billion. So as per the expert, this buying of US treasuries will increase in upcoming weeks as well. So as per the expert, RBI invest in US treasury bonds not for the yield but for the security purpose. With swelling reserves, India's shares of such investment is likely to rise, which in turn will shield against any economic crisis. Now let's understand the first line. RBI has sold the record 21 billion in March. In March, RBI, that is the Reserve Bank of India, has sold the approximately $21 billion US treasuries. Why? Because at that time all the portfolio investors were leaving the India. And why those FPIs were leaving the India? Because of the uncertainty caused by the COVID-19, and the economic doldrum was showing that India is not going to recover very much. So there was no profit for investing in India at that time. That is why all foreign portfolio investors were leaving India. And if they were leaving India, what they were doing? They were selling all their securities or their bonds or debenture where they have invested. And by that selling, what happened? The supply of Indian rupee has increased in the market, and demand of US dollar has increased. Why demand for US dollar has increased? If the foreign investors are selling their securities or their financial instruments, they will not take back the Indian rupee, they will take back the US dollar. So because of that, the demand for dollar was increasing, the supply of Indian money was also increasing. So the supply of money was increasing, the demand of US dollar was also increasing. That caused the depreciation of Indian rupees in the international market. So in order to maintain the value of Indian rupee against the US dollar, RBI has sold the record $21 US treasuries on March. So after selling the US treasury, what happened? RBI has sucked out the excess Indian rupee, and once RBI has sucked out the excess Indian rupee, the supply of Indian rupee has decreased. As the supply of Indian rupee has decreased, the value of Indian rupee has comes up, has came up. So in order to maintain the value of Indian rupee against the US dollar, in March, RBI has sold the record $21 billion US treasury. Now, in the month of June, again RBI is buying the US dollar, US treasuries, and that is of 1 billion. Although it is very nominal amount comparison to $21 billion, but it is actually the opposite process. Now in the month of June, RBI is buying the $1 billion of US treasury. So now what RBI wants to do? RBI wants to increase the supply of Indian rupees into the international market in order to ensure the adequate supply to the companies, so that liquidity crunch cannot be the problem for domestic as well as multinational Indian companies. And experts are saying there are so many other reasons, because of other reasons also RBI invest in US treasury. As Madan says that RBI invest in US treasury not because for yield only but for security also. Why? Because US economy is generally considered as a stable and growing economy. So if any investor is investing on the bonds, debentures or treasuries of any stable economy, it means in future it is going to have the profit, it is going to have the good yield. And in this pandemic situation, uncertainty is persisting or will persist in the aftermath of the coronavirus induced pandemic as well. That is why RBI is diverging its assets into the form of US Treasury bonds as well. Foreign holdings in the world most liquid sovereign security rose to $157.4 billion in April versus $156.5 billion in March as per the official data of US government. So US security or US treasury bond is also called as world's most liquid sovereign security, and as per the data given by the US government, the foreign holdings of the US treasury bonds has increased in the month of April owing to the uncertainties caused by the COVID-19 induced pandemic. So in line with that, India is also purchasing the US Treasury bond. India's foreign exchange reserve surpassed a $500 billion mark a week ago. The GOG rose by $5.9 billion to $507.6 billion for the week ended June 12, scaling up a record level. Latest RBI data showed on Friday. So between April 3rd to April May, the central bank, that is RBI, has showed up reserved by more than $7 billion. As per the Rajni Thakur, the chief economist of RBL Bank, investment in US Treasury is a good phenomena at times when investors' risk appetite is very low. And as long as this risk appetite remains muted, central banks as well as the foreign investors globally will keep increasing their holdings in US Treasuries. As per the Bloomberg Spot Dollar Index, in past 1 month, the unit against major world currencies dropped nearly by 2%. During the same period, the rupee lost 0.73% versus the greenback, reflecting the fact that the rupee failed to gain the dollar weakness. So investment by RBI in US Treasuries has so many reasons. First reason, to maintain the value of Indian rupee. Second reason, for security purpose in this uncertain economic situation. Third reason, to maintain a decent risk aversive yield. And as we can see, the investment by India into the US Treasury is increasing month by month. In January, it was approximately $164.3 billion. In Feb, it has increased up to $177.5 $5 billion. In March, it is again dropped up to $156.5 billion. In April, it again rose up to $157.4 billion. Now look at into the article number 5. Government clears deck for large ever LIC IPO. So now Government of India is going to start the initial public offering for country's largest insurers, that is Life Insurance Corporation of India. And in line with that, Department of Public Asset Management has invited the bids from consulting firm, investment bankers, financial institutions to advise the government on the preparatory process of IPO of life insurance company. And it is expected that LIC public offer is going to be the country's largest ever IPO offer, and for which the government will engage approximately 2 pre-IPO transaction advisors. And this comes at a time when government plans to divest the stake in Air India, BPCL and Concor have been put on the back burner due to the COVID-19 pandemic. I think you remember Concor. In the morning business standard news discussion, we have discussed about this company as well. So at the time when Air India, BPCL and Concor privatization or divestment decision has been put on the back burner, for that investors were waiting actually. So at that time, Government of India is coming with the largest IPO of Life Insurance Corporation of India. The last date for the bid for advisor to LIC's IPO is July 13 as per the request for the proposal issued on Friday. So the tender has been floated and the bid has been asked from the bidder, and the bid will open on July 14. And in this process, government is actually looking to engage up to 2 pre-IPO transaction advisor. So the experts are saying that this is going to be the country's largest ever IPO. However, number of other experts have other opinion regarding the divestment of or the privatization of Life Insurance Corporation of India. Some are saying that it is a good move, some are saying that it is a bad move. We are not going up to that discussion. But as of now, Government of India is going to issue the IPO for Life Insurance Corporation of India, and probably we'll see this IPO in the months of August itself. That's all for today news. Student, if you like, please share and subscribe. Thank you.